My dear friends, good evening. Come closer. Pull up a chair. Sit here with me. Leave the outside world behind for a little while, with its noise, its rush. Here, in our little corner, we like to chat about matters of the heart, about the mysteries of faith, about how God writes straight with lines that, to our eyes, seem so crooked, so broken. Today, I want to tell you the story of Lucas, a good young man with a hard-working heart, but who carried a heavy soul, you know? Heavy as a river stone. Lucas had just buried his father, Samuel. A man he loved, of course, but who, in his view, Samuel had been a man who had failed. A simple man who lived a simple life and, by all indications, died leaving only dust. When the lawyer called Lucas in for the reading of the will, there was no surprise. The only asset was the old family home. The house where Lucas was born, yes, but which he hadn't visited in years. The lawyer handed over the key with a look that mixed pity and professional. "My condolences, Lucas." This is all he had. Lucas's heart sank. He got in his car and drove to the old neighborhood. The iron gate was down, eaten away by rust. Weeds had taken over the garden, which had once been his mother's pride and joy. He stopped the car and stared. The paint, or what was left of it, peeled like sunburnt skin. A window was broken, covered with a piece of cardboard. Have you ever felt, my son, my daughter, that kind of stomach-churning disappointment? That feeling that you expected anything but that? Lucas felt it. He put the key in the lock. The door jammed. He had to shove it shut with his shoulder. The smell that came from inside. What a sad smell. It was a smell of mold, of abandonment, of time standing still. He went inside, and the dim light of the late afternoon barely managed to overcome the dirt on the windows. The ceiling had dark leaks. The wooden floor was warped from the dampness. The few remaining pieces of furniture were covered in a sheet of dust and cobwebs. That wasn't an inheritance. For Lucas, it was a testament to his father's failure. He felt ashamed of his father, ashamed of himself. What was he going to do with it? It was worthless. Worse, it was a problem, probably riddled with tax debts. He kicked a rickety chair, which crumbled into rotten pieces. Anger mingled with the pain of grief. "Was this it, Dad? Is this all you had to leave me? Ruins?" he shouted into the silence. But the house, the old house, only held the echo of his pain. Lucas stood there, amidst what he saw as the tomb of his father's hopes, feeling like the poorest and most helpless man in the world. He had no idea, my friends, no idea that what his eyes saw was only the shell. The true legacy was there, yes, but it was hidden. But how, my God? How could he even imagine? Lucas spent the following days in a haze of sadness and anger. He couldn't simply abandon the house. It bore his father's name. So he made a decision. He would clean everything, throw away what was worthless, and perhaps, with luck, sell the land. The land was worth something. The house would have to be demolished. And with it, the memory of a father who, in his mind, had left him nothing of value. He put on old clothes, he bought garbage bags, gloves, masks, and the battle began. My friend, have you ever had to clean up a lifetime's worth of mess? It's not easy. It's not just dust. Each object he picked up told a story of hardship. He found old bills, many of them paid late. He found prescriptions for expensive medications. He found notebooks with grocery lists where only the basics were marked. Lucas's heart began to ache. He didn't see failure. He began to see struggle. The daily struggle of a lonely man who never complained, who always had a simple smile when Lucas visited him. "Why didn't you ask me for help, Dad?" he whispered, while bagging chipped plates. The beach house seemed like a labyrinth of sorrows. The smell of mold seeped into his nose, his clothes, his soul. The work was hard. He sawed rotten wood, ripped planks from the floor. His hands, accustomed to the office, soon became full of calluses and cuts. And Lucas's faith? Ah, that was being tested like gold in the fire. Every night, he would arrive at his rented apartment, exhausted, and look up at the sky. "God, are you seeing this? Did you leave me here, in this hole? Is this my inheritance? Pile of rubble and sad memories?" His prayer was almost an accusation. He felt forgotten. The days turned into a week, 2 weeks, and the house seemed endless. Each room was a new layer of neglect. He was on a long desert crossing. You know how it is? That time when you walk, and the landscape is always the same. Sand, dust, and hot sun beating down on your head. You see no sign of water, no sign of life. Lucas was in this desert, the desert of his father's ruins. Despair began to creep in. It would have been easier to give up. It would have been easier to call a demolition crew, pay out of his own pocket, and end it all at once. He sat on the dirty living room floor, his mask hanging around his neck, sweat dripping from his face. He was ready to close the door and let the past be swallowed by the bulldozer. The taste of defeat, my friend, it's a bitter taste. And Lucas's mouth was full of it. He couldn't take it anymore. What would he do? There was one last room left, the smallest of them all, the one Samuel used as an office. It was a cramped little room in the back, one Lucas barely remembered entering as a child. He opened the door, expecting the same scene of chaos and dust. But it was different. The smell there wasn't of mold. It was a dry smell of old paper. The room was organized. Yes, dusty, but organized. There was a small, dark wood desk, a simple chair, and an old but sturdy bookcase full of books. Lucas ran his finger over Bibles, several of them of all sizes, all worn from use, old hymn books, black-covered notebooks. He began packing the books with a care he didn't even understand himself. A respect, perhaps, and that's when he felt it. A shiver, a cold wind on the back of his neck. Lucas stopped. The window was closed. He had just closed the door behind him. There were no gaps. Where was that wind coming from? He turned around. Behind the desk was the wall that faced the back of the property. A solid wall, or so it seemed. He approached. The wallpaper, a faded floral pattern, was intact. He ran his hand over it. And the wind. The cold wind seemed to blow away, from the wall. His heart skipped a beat. He pressed his ear against it. Silence. He tapped with his knuckles. Normal. He tapped more to the side. Hollow. The sound was different. Definitely hollow. As if there was an empty space back there. Lucas's mind raced. What is that? A pipe? A basement I didn't know existed? But the house was a single-story building. It didn't have a basement. He pushed the desk, making a scraping noise on the floor. He looked at the entire wall. It seemed perfectly normal. He measured the room with his steps, from one end to the other. It seemed smaller than it should be. But he shook his head. It's just my imagination. Tiredness. I'm seeing things. He tried to ignore it. He picked up a box to continue working. But that sound, that cold wind, that feeling that something was out of place. Oh, my friends, Sometimes God plants a seed of curiosity in our hearts that won't leave us in peace. That hollow wall kept echoing in Lucas's head. Was it just tiredness talking? Or was the house, finally, beginning to whisper a secret that had been kept for decades, waiting for the right moment to be heard? Lucas couldn't sleep that night. The hollow sound of the wall, the inexplicable wind. "It's all in my head," he kept repeating. "I'm just exhausted, that's all." He decided that the next day he would finish emptying the house and call the real estate agent. Enough of the mysteries. He went to the garage, the last bastion of junk. Rusty tools, dried-out paint cans, old tires. The kind of thing every father keeps, thinking he'll use it someday. He was throwing it all into a dumpster, angrily, wanting to get it over with quickly. In the corner, there was an old cardboard tube, moldy at the edges. It looked like trash. He picked it up to throw it away, but he felt a weight. He shook it. There was something inside. With effort, he pulled off the dried-out plastic cap. Inside, rolled up, was a large, yellowed and brittle piece of paper. He opened it carefully. The smell of dust was strong, and his heart stopped. It was the original blueprint for the house. A technical drawing, done by hand, in the elegant handwriting of an architect from decades ago. A document he had never, ever seen before. He looked out of pure curiosity. The living room, the kitchen, the bedrooms. And then he saw the office, the back room. He looked at the numbers, the dimensions, the depth measurement. 4 meters. The blueprints indicated that the office should be 4 meters deep. A shiver ran down Lucas's spine. He dropped everything. He ran inside the house, stumbling over boxes. He went to the garage again, rummaged through his father's toolbox. The tape measure, an old, slightly rusty metal tape measure, but it still worked. He returned to the office, his heart pounding in his throat. He clamped the end of the tape measure to the door and stretched it to the back wall. The wall with the floral wallpaper, the wall of the cold wind. He looked at the number, 3 meters, 3 meters, not 4. He measured again, and again. The same thing. 1 meter was missing. A whole meter of the room was missing. He remembered the hollow sound. He remembered the cold wind. He looked at the plant and looked at the wall. It wasn't madness. It wasn't exhaustion. The pieces clicked together with a painful and exciting snap. The wall was fake. The tape measure fell from his hand, making a metallic thud on the wooden floor. 1 meter. A whole meter of his father's house was hidden. What? What had his father Samuel built there? And why would he hide it? Fear and a strange hope, a hope he hadn't felt in years, waged a battle in Lucas's chest. He looked at his calloused hands. He knew what he had to do. Lucas didn't think twice. He went back to the garage and grabbed the heaviest tool he could find, a sledgehammer. The same one he'd been using to break up the loose concrete on the porch. His hands trembled, but not from weakness. It was from anticipation. He stopped in front of the wall. "Dad, what have you done?" He took a deep breath, the smell of old paper and dust. He raised the sledgehammer. The first knock. The plaster cracked. A dry sound. The second time. The hole opened up, and the cold wind came out of it, stronger, like a sigh. He hit it again and again. Pieces of drywall, wallpaper, and wooden planks fell. Dust filled the air. And then he saw. Behind the false wall, there was another, a dark wood wall made of cedar, and in it, a small door, almost invisible, with a simple lock. He dropped the sledgehammer. He used the tip of a screwdriver to force the old lock. It creaked, protested, and gave way. The little door opened. Lucas bent down and looked inside. A smell, oh my, a smell that wasn't mold. It was the smell of good wood, leather, and time. It was a small space, yes, exactly 1 meter deep, a secret compartment. There was no gold, there were no silver bars, there were no jewels. There was a small chair, a shelf with an oil lamp, and on another shelf, several large, thick books bound in leather. And, on top of a makeshift table, a polished wooden box with a simple carving of a cross. Lucas's heart felt like it was going to jump out of his chest. He picked up the box. It was heavy. He opened it. Inside, letters. Dozens of letters, tied together with satin ribbons, organized by date. And all of them, every single one, addressed to him. For my beloved son, Lucas, when the time is right. Tears welled up. He didn't even try to hold them back. He picked up the first letter, his Samuel's handwriting, firm and careful. My son, if you are reading this, it is because I have already left, and it is because you found this place. Forgive the ruined house. I left it like this on purpose. Lucas stopped, confused. I knew that if the house was beautiful, you would sell it quickly, or rent it. You would never really look at it. But I knew that, seeing it in ruins, your good heart wouldn't leave it as it was. You would have to clean it. You would have to empty it. And in emptying it, you would have to stop. And only by stopping would you find this place. Our place. Lucas sobbed, his face wet, dust mingling with his tears. He opened the large books. They were his father's diaries. Years, decades, of prayers, of studying the Word, of wisdom, of struggles he never shared. And at the bottom of the wooden box, beneath the last letter, was a folded document. He opened it, writing, the deed to a small plot of land, fertile, with a stream, near the mountains that Lucas loved to visit as a child, a place bought and paid for in cash years ago, in the name of Lucas, his Samuel, the man he considered a failure, the man he thought had left him only ruins, had, in fact, lived a whole life of thrift, of extreme simplicity, not out of failure, but out of purpose, to save, to protect. He hadn't left behind a house in ruins. The ruined house was just the safe. The false wall was merely the lock. The true legacy was this: the wisdom of faith, unconditional love, and provision. The provision his father hid where thieves don't steal, where moths don't eat, and where only his son, in due time, could find it. Lucas fell to his knees in that hidden little room, embracing his father's letters, finally understanding what it meant to be truly rich. Oh, my dear, my darling, how many times, right? How many times do we look at our lives, and all we see is a house in ruins? We look at the broken facade, at the peeling paint of our health, at the leaks in our relationships, at the overgrown weeds of our finances, and we look to God, our Father, and ask, is this all there is? Is this the legacy you have for me? A burden? Ruins. We judge God's love by appearances. We measure His faithfulness by what our weary eyes can see. But the Father, the Heavenly Father, just as His Samuel did with Luke, often builds a false wall. He hides the true treasure behind what we call difficulty. He hides provision behind the desert. He hides wisdom behind silence. The true legacy He has for us is rarely what shines on the outside. The true legacy is the faith that was forged while you cleared the rubble. It is the patience that was learned in waiting. It is the wisdom that was written on the pages of your pain. It is the provision that is there, kept, hidden, waiting for the exact time. The time when you stop looking at the ruin and start looking for the signs, for the cold wind, for the hollow sound. Perhaps today, you're feeling exactly like Lucas did at the beginning. Tired, disappointed, seeing only rubble around you, believing that what you have in your hands is proof of failure. I want to invite you to share something, a heartfelt conversation. Here in the comments, you don't need to expose your pain. But tell me, what is the wall that you feel needs God to knock down in your life today? Or perhaps you have already found your hidden legacy. What scripture has faith already revealed to you when all you saw was dust? Let's talk. Share your story, your Amen. Your experience may be the light that someone who is sitting amidst the ruins right now needs to find the strength to pick up the sledgehammer of faith. If this story touched your heart, leave a like and subscribe to our little corner here so you don't miss any stories, so we can continue together, discovering the treasures that God hides behind the false walls of life. May God be with you all, and never forget, don't judge a legacy by its appearance,